Hey, what's up guys, I'm Praetorian and welcome back to Crusader Kings III in our roleplay series as the Dokeianos dynasty. Well, happy Thanksgiving to all of those who celebrate it. I know it's an American holiday. Of course, the Canadians celebrate it as well, but they celebrate on a different day than we do. So for all those Americans out there, happy Thanksgiving. Hope you guys have a fantastic holiday. I do know that some people don't celebrate it here in America, so I'm only talking to those that do, of course. But yeah, I hope you have a fantastic holiday. Personally, Thanksgiving is easily my favorite holiday. It's one of the few that has kind of really maintained the meaning of it, as far as like the meaning that we've applied to it. And that's the idea of getting together with family and friends, people you care about, and enjoying a meal together and being thankful for the things that you have rather than wanting more and concentrating on what you don't have, what you want. So I really enjoy the holiday. It's easily my favorite. It's just going to be us four this year, my wife, myself, and our kids. And we're going to have a big old feast, and we make a big deal about it, have a lot of fun on it. It's a big day for us, holiday that we really enjoy here in our family. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving if you're celebrating it. And remember that will be affecting the channel because we're not going to have a video on Friday. We will have a Thursday episode. Obviously, this is the Thursday episode. I'm recording it here on Wednesday. And so on Thursday, I'm not going to record anything. Thus, we will not have any Friday videos. And thus, the next episode will be on Saturday. So before we get started in today's episode, if I could just have a minute of your time to just humor me as I gloat about something I am proud of. Some of you guys may recall if you're here for this long, you may recall that back in late 2018, early 2019, somewhere around that period, I had set a goal for myself to be the strongest I'd ever been. And back in high school, I weighed about 225 pounds and was able to bench 300. And so that's kind of my, what I'm kind of gauging this based on strength is just the bench press, my maximum bench press. And so my goal is to do 305 pounds here in my 30s so I can be the strongest I've ever been. And I did just max 290 last night. So I'm like 15 pounds away from my goal. So I'm very proud of myself, finally getting there. It's taken forever to get to that point due to my health issues that I have with the stomach problems and stuff. It does kind of limit me when it comes to benching, so it's a little bit harder to do them than for most people. So I'm almost there, guys. 15 more pounds, and then I'll be the strongest I've ever been. And I actually weigh like 13 pounds. I weigh 213, so I weigh about 12 pounds lighter than I was back in high school. So that's that old man strength right there. So I'm just proud of myself, so I wanted to share that because I don't have any other friends to share it with, so I'm going to share it with you guys. So as I explained in the last video, we're going to be opening this episode up with a little historical discussion, historical lecture, whatever you want to call it, as we did with the Norman series. If you're not interested in the historical lecture parts, you can just skip it. I'm going to put a pinned comment down below, and it will have a timestamp, and you can just skip right to the gameplay if this is something you're not interested in. I do think it adds a lot of context to what's going on in our campaign, and it's interesting comparing what's happening in the game to history, and I don't know, I just feel like it adds a lot to the series overall. So that's why I do like doing them, and it seems like the majority of you guys like them as well. But remember, you can skip it if you don't like it. So this historical lecture is going to be about the Norman conquest of southern Italy and Sicily. So you may say, what does that have to do with the Byzantine Empire? Well, of course, the Byzantine Empire controlled much of this territory before the Normans. And then, it also involves our dynasty, as I explained in that first episode. And I think it's a good transition, considering the fact that our last series was as the Normans, and their conquest of England. And of course, we eventually kind of became English rather than Norman. But yeah, I think it's a good transition from that Norman campaign to this Byzantine campaign. And I also actually covered this in that first episode. I had a good 10-minute section where I covered exactly what we're going to talk about today. However, I cut it out because I felt like it was just too much history for the first episode. I wanted to get into the gameplay, so I just cut it out. And I'm just going to redo it, guys, and have a little bit more detail than I had that time. So in 1009, the Byzantines controlled much of southern Italy. Technically, Naples here was under their nominal control. They had a lot of independence, the rulers of Naples, and they weren't really truly under Byzantine control. It was more like they just recognized the Byzantine Emperor as their liege. But it was pretty independent overall. But so this territory here, again, was kind of independent, but technically, nominally, everywhere from here south was under Byzantine control. Not much of Sicily just yet was under their control. They would eventually get a little bit more, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But yeah, all southern Italy was under their control. And in 1009, there was a Lombard rebellion. The Lombards, who were not originally from Italy, had by this point had pretty much moved throughout the entire peninsula. Obviously their power base was more here in the north, but they had expanded, their population had expanded all the way down here to the south, and the Lombards were very numerous throughout Italy. And they eventually revolted, again in 1009, against the Byzantines here. Now, how the Normans got involved, nobody's quite sure. Some people think that the Pope invited them. Some people just said they came here just to be mercenaries. We don't know exactly why they arrived, but they did play a significant role in that first revolt. Now, there wasn't a lot of them. It was only probably a few hundred knights overall, with the additional troops that they had brought with them that you wouldn't really call knights. So overall, not a lot of troops, but they did play a significant role despite their lower numbers, just because they were very, very good knights. They were very high quality soldiers. And the Byzantines, frankly, could not fight them. They just weren't able to defeat the Norman knights on their own, with the Lombards, of course, when they combined forces. So what they had to do was bring an elite unit here to southern Italy called the Varangian Guard. Now, many of you guys probably heard of the Varangians before. They were mostly composed of foreigners. They fought for the emperor, they served the emperor, and most of those foreigners were Norsemen, Scandinavians. They made up the majority of the Varangian Guard. However, there were also people from other places, from Germany, most notably the Anglo-Saxons from England. There were a lot of Saxons that were in the Varangian Guard as well. But for the most part, it was a Norse, Viking contingent. In fact, you may know one of the leaders of the Varangian Guard at this time. He would later become King Herald of Norway. And that is the same King Herald that we fought in our previous series, the one who was fighting over control of England with the other King Herald, the Saxon King Herald, and William the Conqueror, the Norman. So them three would eventually fight over England, and as you guys know, William would be the victor, the ultimate victor there. But this is the same King Herald of Norway. He was one of the leaders of the Varangian Guard here in southern Italy, so he played a role in helping put down this revolt. With the help of the Varangian Guard and the fact that the Normans just weren't that numerous at this time, and the Lombards, again, it was more of a rebellion, so they weren't, most of the Lombards were not knights, were not trained soldiers. They were just regular people, raising up to rebel against the Byzantines here. And so the Byzantines were able to put down that rebellion. But what's important here is that the Normans didn't leave. Now, they got a few lands here in Italy, enough to kind of maintain themselves here, and they worked as mercenaries. And they didn't just work as mercenaries for the Lombards, they also worked as mercenaries for the Byzantines. So it took the Byzantines quite a while to put down this rebellion, over a decade. It was a long war, long revolt, whatever you want to call it. But after they put it down, they then decided to try and expand their lands in Sicily, which they really didn't have much lands here at the time in Sicily. They had lost them all to the Muslims. The Muslims controlled most of the island here. And so the Byzantines, with the help of both the Varangian Guard and Norman mercenaries, would expand their territory here in Sicily, conquering all of Messina here. So they would conquer all this, get a little bit of territory down here as well. But yeah, they ended up increasing their lands quite a bit here at the expense of the Muslims, with the help of the Norman knights. So then we fast forward to the year 1040. We kind of briefly talked about this in that first episode. Our dynasty was put in control of all of the territory here, all the Byzantine territory here in southern Italy. And the first member of our dynasty who would become the ruler of, or, the governor, I guess you'd say. They had a name for it, which I'm terrible at pronouncing, so I'm not going to bother with it. But basically, what he was equivalent to is the governor of southern Italy. It wasn't his territory, he was just managing it. And his name was Nikephoros, which you may remember that our first character here, our current character's father, was also named Nikephoros. This is not the same character, obviously. It's a completely different character. In fact, we don't even know how he's related to Michael, our father. Michael would succeed him, would be the next ruler here of the Byzantine territory in southern Italy. But we don't know how he was related to the former member of our dynasty here. It could have been his father, could have been somebody else. Frankly, we don't know. The history books just don't tell us. We don't know who he was. But he was the ruler here, and there was a second Lombard rebellion, and one of the first actions of that rebellion was the assassination of the Byzantine ruler here, Nikephoros. But when he was killed, he was replaced by our character's grandfather, Michael Dokeianos. So that was the part that we talked about in that first episode. Obviously, he didn't do well here. He wasn't really a military man, but really, again, it was a matter of him not having the troop numbers. He didn't get much of the Varangian Guard this time. They did not come and assist much here. So again, it was a quality versus quantity because he actually had more troops than the Normans and Lombards had. And again, he wasn't a great commander or anything like that. So if he was a better commander, maybe he could have done more with what he had. But it was a combination of his crappier military skills combined with lack of resources that resulted in the Byzantines losing here. The Normans defeated them, and they essentially took over much of that territory rather than the Lombards taking it over. It was Normans who took over much of the territory that they took from the Byzantines. Now, the Byzantines weren't completely kicked out of Italy at this time. Naples, again, was still technically under their nominal control. Again, it was very independent, but still was recognized the Byzantine Empire as or Byzantine Emperor as their ruler. And then they also controlled this territory here, specifically this county, not the whole county, but much of the county you see here, with this city here being, this barony here that we see on the map, being kind of like their key fortress of their territory. And so the Byzantines did still have a presence here, but overall the Normans did rule much of this territory after that second rebellion. So during this period of Norman rule, more and more Normans would flood into Italy. And they'd serve as mercenaries again for both sides. But the Normans became more and more powerful in this territory and actually began to oppress the Lombard population here. And they faced several rebellions from the Lombards. But it very much became a case of the Normans taking over the territory and coming to control all of southern Italy. Now, there was one Norman who would become the most powerful one here in southern Italy. Initially, he was just a count, and he would eventually expand his lands, gain control of more counties through a lot of infighting against the Normans, also taking territory from the Lombards and the Byzantines here. And his name was Robert Guiscard. Many of you guys have probably heard of him. He's kind of known as the founder of the Norman rule here in southern Italy and Sicily. But Robert becomes incredibly powerful throughout this realm. Eventually he becomes a duke of this specific county here, which I don't know if it's listed as being a duchy here. Yeah, he was the duke of this county right here, as well as the duke of this area here. So this is two separate duchies, as you can see here. So he was the duke of these two duchies. Now again, he didn't have full control of this duchy because the Byzantines controlled a lot of this part here. But yeah, he eventually became a duke here in southern Italy and became very, very powerful. So much so that the Pope became quite concerned about him and finally had decided that they needed to do anything that they could to push the Normans out of Italy. And he was able to get the Holy Roman Emperor to assist him in that war, as well as some volunteers from throughout Europe who came to the Pope's call for aid. And they came into southern Italy with a very large army to try and push the Normans and Robert out, and they were unsuccessful. Robert was able to defeat the imperial army and capture the Pope. He actually was able to capture the Pope. And with the defeat of the imperial army and the capture of the Pope, he was essentially able to enforce papal approval of his rule here. And at this point, this is in 1053 when he faced the imperial army and defeated them. But at this point, he had also taken over this Byzantine territory here as well. Just a couple years before the emperor and the Pope invaded the Normans, he was able to completely take all of their territory here, all the Byzantine territory here, with the exception, again, of Naples. But again, that wasn't really truly under Byzantine control here. All of the territory that was under direct control of the Byzantines was taken from them in the 1050s. So after defeating the emperor and the pope and kicking the Byzantines out of Italy, Robert then focused on the conquest of Sicily, taking this last bit of territory here from the Byzantines, which he was able to do. And then his next goal was to completely kick the Muslims off the island, and he was able to succeed at that as well. So he conquered all of Sicily, became technically the Duke of Sicily as well, and he would give control of the island to his brother Roger, and he would become known as Count Roger the First of Sicily, and he'll be important a little bit later on. But the point is he's now conquered all of southern Italy and all of Sicily. And so what does he do next? Well, frankly, he still had a rivalry with the Byzantines. They had not only had he fought them in Italy for years now, decades, but they had also supported several of his rivals financially. They had tried to assassinate him on multiple occasions. Frankly, the Byzantines were very much his rival, and he wanted to deal them a significant blow. And so Robert ended up invading into the Balkans as well as Croatia, and had immense success. Here in Croatia, he had help from the native population there. But yeah, he was also able to invade into the Balkans here and conquered quite a bit of territory. He faced the emperor in battle. The emperor was actually leading the troops against the Normans, and the Normans defeated the emperor. And from there, they were able to get concessions of a lot of territory, quite a bit. And then Robert ends up going back to deal with further rebellions from Normans. And there was a lot of infighting going on in Italy, southern Italy, and a little bit in Sicily, but mostly in southern Italy. Roger did a pretty good job of keeping Sicily, keeping them from having too much unrest that would impact Robert. But southern Italy, on the other hand, was a mess. Even though technically Robert was in control of it, there were a lot of Normans who were rebelling against him and trying to take his position as the top Norman here. And so he actually had to leave after he finished this war and focus solely on southern Italy and trying to maintain control there. And so it's one of the great what-ifs of history, I find. What would have happened if the Normans would have been more united? If there wasn't so much infighting between the Normans, because they were constantly fighting each other for territory here in Italy, would they have conquered all of the Byzantine Empire? I think it's perhaps a realistic possibility. We just don't know what would have happened if the Normans would have been more united. But they stomped all over the Byzantines when they invaded here. And so it's definitely an interesting idea to think of what would have happened. I think they could have very well have conquered, all of the territory here that the Byzantines had, because they were just rolling right over them. Eventually Robert dies, and then you just see continued fighting here in southern Italy of who's going to succeed him, who's going to become the new Norman ruler of all this territory. But here in Sicily, you have something interesting happen. So, of course, Roger, he consolidates his rule here, extends his power, and then eventually his son takes over. He dies, his son takes over, and that is Roger II of Sicily, and he becomes the Duke of Sicily. And Roger II would eventually become the sole ruler of all Norman territories in southern Italy and Sicily, and would be made into a king. So he'd be called King Roger II of Sicily. So he was the first king of Sicily, first Norman king of Sicily, and so he is the son of Roger I, who was the brother of Robert Guiscard, meaning that he's the nephew of Robert here. And he would be the first king of Sicily, and that would result in the Normans ruling here for quite some time. Eventually, towards the end of the 12th century, the Holy Roman Empire would invade again and would force the Normans out and defeat them here. But they did rule for a good solid 100 or so years here in southern Italy and Sicily, and had a very successful kingdom here, which would later be called the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies. All right, so that's all I wanted to discuss for the lecture. Just talk about the Byzantines losing their territory here in Italy, and the Normans conquering it, taking it over. And again, I really think that what-if scenario of what would have happened if they hadn't been fighting each other so much, what would the Normans have accomplished? We just don't know. We know that they took Rome. They defeated the Pope multiple times. They were able to take control of Rome. Robert actually did that himself. They accomplished a lot here. in really a relatively short amount of time. So it's very interesting to think if they had just stopped fighting each other so much, what they would have accomplished here. But yeah, let's go and get started in today's episode, guys. So one of the things that a couple people noted here is that our new wife, she has, excuse me, this was our past wife. So let's go back into her. My bad. It's the Countess here. So remember, she had the 2 children who are our nephew, and so she was with our brother. Somebody pointed out that our brother was actually married to her, and that they had these 2 kids already. And I kind of remember that because remember we were talking about the fact that he already had an heir for us, and so it was kind of one of the negatives of him no longer being our heir when we made him into a monk. Well, when we made him into a monk, that also ended his marriage with his wife, and so that's the reason why she was available to marry. So yeah, I had completely forgot that we had married our son, which in this case would be our brother. So Nikephoros, that's who I'm talking about here. Yeah, when we made him a monk, that ended his relationship, resulted in him divorcing. So I had completely forgot about that, guys. So yeah, it wasn't a case of it just being his lover, which is the reason why they're not bastards, because they were conceived while they were married. Yeah, I just completely forgot about that, guys. Very interesting. So one thing I'd love to do is invite him to the court. It doesn't look like they're willing to, though. Yeah, they have a pretty low negative here. He'd be leaving his spouse. That's the main reason why. I wonder if his brother would be any more willing to come. No, not as well. He's more willing to come, but not enough to leave here. We'd have to improve opinion with him or something like that. So yeah, that's unfortunate that we can't get them in. But let's go ahead and start arranging some marriages. Well, the first one I'd like to do is arrange a marriage for our daughter. Now, I haven't taken a look at the possibilities yet, so we're just gonna look, guys, to see what alliances we can get when we marry off our daughters. That's the main thing we're looking for, is really good alliances. Essentially, we have 2 potential alliances here. One is with this. We would do the marriage with the boy. He's pretty young though, so our daughter would be fairly old when they actually got married. But he's way up here. I really don't think he'd be all that helpful. 608 troops from way up north there. Yeah, I don't think that'd be as helpful. This was probably a much better marriage here. The Count here is not married. He is one-legged and ill, but it looks like his health is fine. He's pretty young, so he'll probably live through this. I'm a little surprised that he's not married right now yet. Maybe because he's doing the temptation focus. So yeah, he's working on seducing other people rather than getting married. Does have a rival and friends. No lovers, though. No lovers here. So I think he would be a good fit. He only has 400-something men. But yeah, he's not too shabby. Maybe we'll arrange the marriage with him. I don't know if they've had any kids yet. Looks like they have. Wonder why that wasn't an option here. Because remember, we still want to arrange a marriage for them. So I think that's what we're going to do. Probably arrange a marriage for the son here. We'll see if we can. Maybe they weren't willing to agree to it. Yeah, they're not willing to agree to it. That's why. Do they even want a marriage with us at all? The marrying down is hitting us kind of hard because we're a count. So I think that's going to be a problem, guys. Yeah, I really don't think we're going to be able to get this marriage. We could try looking at a marriage with the daughter with one of our sons, probably the youngest one, Cyrus. And they would not accept that either. We might have looked at this before, but yeah, they will not marry into our family. Again, a part of the problem here, and wait a minute. Where's that count? Okay, so he's the count here. I was thinking he was right there. But yeah, part of the problem is just, nobody respects that, marrying into a count doesn't respect our prestige. So it's always going to be a problem. So we need to try and arrange marriage with other counts. That's the easiest way. Or people that we have hooks on, that we can force them to do the marriage. As of right now, we don't have hooks on anybody, though, that we could do that with the exception of right here. We could take a look at her, I suppose. We do have the strong hook on her, but I'm assuming all of her children are married right now, so we wouldn't be able to do that either, unfortunately. So yeah, this is really the only choice, and it's just arranging a marriage with him. And, it's not a strong alliance, but it is an ally. So I think we'll go ahead and do that, guys. We'll marry our daughter to him. So Constance, and he is just barely willing to accept this. Is there anything we need to be aware of here? No. Would he accept a matrilineal? No, of course not. So let's go and send that proposal off. That'll be a marriage for our daughter. We'll take a look, see if there's anything available for our sons, or at least Magnus. See if there's a marriage for him, because I'm still trying to get Thomas into the church. I'm going to ask him one more time when that expires. We'll take a look exactly when that is. It's somewhere over here. Here we go. Asked to take vows. 11/23. So it's going to be a while. Wow. Yeah, that's a long time. Yeah, that's kind of a shame. Yeah, that's quite a ways away. It looks like it's 10 years in between time asking. Yeah, we'll have to see, guys. I won't arrange for marriage for him just yet, but he could have kids technically in that time. What about him? Would he accept? No, he wouldn't accept. I didn't think he would, because he's obviously he's more martial-minded rather than the learning, which if they have the learning education, they're more likely to accept that. I was really surprised that he refused. Didn't we have like an 80-something% chance, and Thomas still refused? And it was very unfortunate. So with Magnus, I don't expect to find many good alliances, although maybe with females there might be some here that weren't available for our when we were trying to marry our daughter off. Seems like there's one possible alliance. Let's take a look at this character. It's that one. It's the same guy, I think. So it's way up there. So yeah, I don't think we'll do that. Instead, let's just base this off of what we've been basing this off of, guys. So we're gonna want, how old is our son? He's 17. So we're gonna want, we don't want too much of an age difference here. Maybe 5 years. Yeah, I think about 5 years is good. Obviously fertile and healthy. And then we're going to be looking for inheritable traits here if we can find them. And then we're going to sort this by the sum of all skills and try and find somebody who's really good. So there's an intelligent Czech woman here. She is lowborn though, so it's going to be a prestige loss. I guess I'm not entirely against a prestige loss. What I really want is somebody who's got good martial skill for him. So if he does become his own ruler, he can have good martial. But there's really nobody here. And if we want an inheritable trait, which I guess if we were to do anything, we'd want these ones here. She's all right. She's good with intrigue, good with stewardship. She'd make a decent wife, I think. She is French. She's ambitious, cynical, and greedy. I think she's a good fit. I think we'll arrange the marriage for her. And they both actually end up getting prestige in this marriage. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. Those two marriages. And remember, we are in the middle of a conflict right now. So that marriage has happened already. And we're just waiting to see what they do. It does look like they're going to attempt to attack our capital here. I'm actually okay with that. I was more worried that they'd come after us here, though they might still. They could march over here. We'll have to see what happens, guys. If we don't get the assistance of our allies here, we might still be able to win. Again, though, they're going to have that mountain bonus. That's a pretty big bonus. So we do now have a new ally. Excellent. Can we call that ally into the conflict? Let's take a look here. Thomas can obviously be married. Yeah, we could call him into the conflict. That'd be an additional 75 prestige, but that's another, 500 troops here? 435. Yeah, let's pull him in as well. Anything to kind of help us win this conflict, since we're trying to get control of this county. Instead of attacking the capital, they might come over here to try and take that county back as well. That's a possibility. So, yeah, he did agree to join the conflict. Excellent. Remember, we're looking at 4 months left before we get that done. It does seem like they might be going there after the warble. We'll take a look and see how long they're going to take it. 18 months is going to be a long time. But we could also attack right now when they have that penalty, which is what I think we're going to do. Remember, we're going to have the mountain bonus, and apparently we don't have a commander here. So it's going to get somebody appointed. I suppose we'll do the mayor. I think he'd be the best choice. He's also our marshal. Yeah, we'll have him lead. But do we want to attack here? Would we win? Let me just take a look. It does look like we have a very good chance of winning. I think we would even win while they still have the recently disembarked penalty. So, well, this is what we're going to do. Now, some people noted that there is a button here to station the besiegers, leave enough soldiers in this army to continue the siege. I'm aware of that. You know, obviously we used it in the previous series a couple times. However, we don't want to leave, 500 soldiers here or whatever we need to finish the siege, because we need every soldier we can get to defeat these guys. So what we're going to do instead is the same thing that we did up here, which I think that was up there, wasn't it? Yeah, I think when we were doing this siege here and we left those troops and then we attacked the enemy there. And I think that's what people were talking about, was me just leaving that little bit of troops there. The reason why we did that is because we needed all of them, guys. We got to have every unit we can get. These can stay here, though, because they're not even useful in battle anyways. And they will be enough to keep the siege progress. Now, we won't be able to continue it any further. But that's okay. So let's go and attack these guys with the hope of getting the win here in the mountains while they're recently disembarked. Looks like I think we're going to get there just in time, and that's if they don't flee. And see... Okay, so we weren't able to find anything here. So we're going to move them, I suppose. Yeah, I guess we'll move him. Let me just find where he's at here. Okay, yeah, that's right. He's up here. Okay. You know what? I think we're going to leave him there one more time because I did forget that this is the guy who has that hook on us, and we're trying to get a hook on him. So we're going to leave him there because sometimes you can find something. All right, so again, should win this battle, though he is no longer going to have the recently disembarked penalty. Well, that's a shame. That's the only reason why I attacked him here. We are going to get the assistance from our allies. You know, maybe we'll win the war without having to take the capital here. So we'll see if this ends up working out. And our brother Nikephoros did die, and we lost stress because, again, our relationship with him was very much strained. So yeah, he did die from his wounds. So I think that was our last sibling. Yep, we outlived all of our siblings. Okay, so we are in this battle, guys. And... oh, this looks completely different here, doesn't it? I don't think the new patch downloaded, did it? It might have, and I wasn't paying attention. They were talking about the new patch. I saw the patch notes, and I figured we'd go over the patch notes on the first episode that we did on the new patch. I was thinking it hadn't downloaded yet. Yeah, I saw the forum post, but this is completely different. So it does seem like that I am on the new patch. All right, that means that next episode, guys, in the beginning of the next episode, we'll talk about some of the changes in the patch. But you can already see here, this is completely different. Again, I think it's more visual than anything else. I think it's just a visual change, but I don't actually know. So yeah, we'll go over the patch notes. Not the whole patch notes, just some of the highlights, some of the most important things. We'll go over that next episode, guys. Yeah, I didn't realize we were playing on a new patch, but yeah, clearly we are, because this is not the same. Yeah, I didn't see it download. I don't know how I missed that, but yeah, I completely missed it. Alright, so this is just about done here. This will be a win. Question is, how much war score will we get? Not enough. Not enough, guys. Alright, so let's go ahead and we can demand payment from this mayor here. It's only 15 gold, though. He just doesn't have very much money. So in that battle, they lost 3 times the number that we did. Still a fairly small number overall, though. Take a look. If we injured, yeah, it looks like we injured 2 of their knights here. Oh, no. We injured one of their knights. Well, one of our knights was, in fact, injured. All right, so got a little bit of war score from that. Not enough to win the conflict, though. So let's go ahead and go back to the siege, guys, to try and get this completed. Well, it did get a victory, and this might be enough now once we take the capital. Remember, we still have the war goal and the ticking war score. But once we take their capital, that might be enough to get the win. We'll have to see, guys. We'll just have to see. His troops are retreating up to here, it looks like. Yeah, it's got about 800 men remaining. The enemy does. So overall, not enough to really do anything. I suppose they could siege something down if they wanted to, but yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Let's just put this on speed 4 real quick because we're just about done. Again, I'm hoping this will be the end of the war. I suppose we'll see if it is or not. An attempted murder. While performing his duties as my spy master, Zacharias has uncovered a secret held by this count here. I'm not entirely sure who he is. We'll take a look. Okay, so this is, again, part of the... I didn't realize what this was, but yeah, this is the secret. We actually found one here. Not on who we wanted, though. However, I suppose we could use that, guys. Yeah. I got some ideas popping up in my head, guys. Let's go ahead and blackmail this character. We'll go ahead and blackmail him, and then we're not going to get the money from it, guys. Because I think we might attempt to operate against this character. He's still really young, and he's going to have this strong hook on us for the rest of our lives. And so it might be really good to remove him. He's already made all these demands of us, and yeah, I think removing him would be a worthy goal. But we would need agents to do that. So let's get the secrets beforehand, and then maybe we'll attempt to assassinate him. So we did finish up the siege. We also were able to get a prisoner, and that is 100%. Is that from the prisoners or just from taking the capital? Yes, because we were able to capture one of his heirs. Excellent. All right, so let's go ahead and end the conflict, guys, and force our demands, and we'll be taking control of that new county. All right, fantastic. So yeah, we now have control of this county. Excellent. So we have 4 total counties under our rule. However, I don't think this will help our son at all. I think he's still set to only inherit the 2 counties, which as of right now, we're this one and this one. I don't know if that's going to change anything. Let's just take a look at who's inheriting what. So he's still going to inherit Demetrias, which is kind of unfortunate because I think I'd rather have him have these 2, even though Demetrias is technically a better county, or maybe not. The development is actually higher here, probably because of the high development here in our capital. Yeah, because it used to be better. Our county here used to be better. That's no longer the case. And they also have all the buildings. Well, I'm looking at that city there. But yeah, they also have several buildings constructed here, while here we do not. So I think this one's actually better. So what we could do is give the counties out to our sons now, so we can pick which ones they get. Problem with that, of course, is we're losing complete control of it because we're not a duke. So I don't really like doing that, honestly. Just seeing who's set to inherit what. So Thomas is still set to inherit this county, while Magnus is now set to inherit this county here, the new one we just took. And little Cyrus isn't getting anything, unfortunately. Now, if we were to get a 5th county, that I think would end up going to our son, which Count Michael is now one-eyed. Okay, well, that increases his natural dread. Gives him a +1 learning, but decreases his prowess, which wasn't really his specialty anyways. So that's interesting. He's terrible at everything, though, so, I mean, he's just not a good character overall. He's currently doing the temptation focus, if you're curious what he was doing. So that might result in him having some children with his wife, perhaps, once she comes of age, since they are not currently married yet, of course. But yeah, with him having that extra fertility, that could result in them having some kids fairly quickly. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. So we can go and disband our armies now. And I suppose what we really need to do is become a duke. Now, I don't think Count Michael, he's not a very ambitious guy, so I don't know that he would go about doing this, being a content character. Let me just see how much work we have to do to get control of one of the duchies here. So to usurp, we'd have to get 1 more county here, or let's take a look at this one here. You know what? I don't think we have. Yeah, we don't have control of any of that. So it's this one that we need to look at, and one more county here. So 1 more county in either of these 2 locations would allow us to usurp that and become a duke. And while as a content character, I don't really know that Count Michael wants to become a duke. At the same time, remember, he's trying to gain enough territory for all his sons, and trying to make sure that his eldest son inherits as much power as possible, as we're trying to obviously ensure the stability of our dynasty. And once our son inherits with just 2 counties, we're back to being weak again. We lose this 2,100 soldiers, and it's going to drop down to about half of that. We go back to about having 1,000 men. And so I think you can maybe make the argument as an arrogant character that, he has this high self-worth. Maybe he sees himself as worthy of being a duke already. I mean, he holds 4 counties. I mean, he holds more territory than many dukes do in the Byzantine Empire. So I really feel like he would feel like he deserves, as an arrogant person, to be a duke. But again, because we're content, he's going to be very slow about it. Maybe so slow that he doesn't live through it. But we're gonna give it some time, and then I think we'll attempt to expand into one of these 2 duchies, get 1 more county, so that we can try and usurp the title. Now, we won't determine who, because again, we're going to give it several years, probably 5 years or so, before we do that. Again, just kind of fitting with the content trait, I feel. And we'll just see at that point which one of these is the weaker one. So yeah, we can just let it play for right now. It's on the speed 4 here, and also we can demand payments here. So we don't want, her name is the Heartbreaker. Okay. We do have those prisoners that we can sell. Or excuse me, ransom, or maybe not. Looks like they all got freed when we did that treaty. Okay, never mind then. So, we can't do that. Can demand the payments. Obviously, we don't want to do the duchies. The mayor, of course, is the mayor up here. Or, no, that's the mayor here. So, he doesn't... Oh, he does have the money. I don't know if there was a reason why... Okay, it's 15 gold. I was thinking I was going to get more, and that he didn't have it. But he does actually have it, and that's just the most we're going to get, for whatever reason. I don't think it's worth it. 15 gold, we'll just keep the strong hook. And then, of course, the count here, we want to keep the hook on him for operating against this duke here. All right, so I guess that's it. Let's go ahead and let it play. Obviously, Thomas still needs a marriage, but we're going to avoid marrying him just yet. Yeah, I feel like Magnus, he'll be able to, produce children, along with, our son Michael. Hopefully, between the two of them, that they'll produce enough heirs for our dynasty so that we don't need to marry off Thomas. Because, again, I really want... because it's not about the succession, because anything Thomas was going to get is going to go to Cyrus now, or technically, I guess, whatever Thomas was going to get is going to go to Magnus, and then whatever Magnus was getting would go to Cyrus. So it's not about the succession and trying to get more stuff for our character. It's solely about, I just think he would be a good fit. I think he's a fantastic fit, even if he doesn't know it. He would be. So I just want him to. So what is this? My daughter-in-law has given birth to a daughter. And since the little one is part of our dynasty, she should be blessed with a good name. So I think this is part of the patch notes. Again, I really hate that we haven't been able to go over the patch notes, man. That's a real shame. Because, again, I didn't know we were on the newest patch. I thought it wasn't coming out yet until later in the week. But I think this is something new that I saw in the patch notes. You now be able to name, grandkids and stuff like that. So, yeah, I really like that you could do this. But, yeah, so who's the father here? So this is Magnus's kid with his new wife. So that was quite quick. Yeah, very, very quick that they had a child here. I didn't wait. I didn't waste any time. So yeah, we can go ahead and, I think Apollonia is a fine name. Yeah, we'll keep that name. So yeah, we can now name all of our grandkids, which is awesome because, typically your grandkid is often going to be your future character. So yeah, it's a bummer that you don't get to name them. And that was something CK2 had. So I'm really glad that they added that. Again, there's a lot of additions to this patch, so we're going to go over all those patch notes, the main things, in the next episode. So we were able to find another secret. Excellent. And there's a murder attempt here. So yeah, a lot of attempted murders here that we're finding of these counts. And these counts are going to be super helpful. Having these hooks over them would be super helpful. So let's go ahead and blackmail this guy. Let's blackmail him here. 100% chance of being successful. All right, so I don't know who all they are, these characters, if they happen to be, because we're looking for the spy master. Getting something on him would be really helpful. So yeah, we'll just have to see what happens there, see what other secrets we can uncover. These two to get married now, so now Michael can start having children. And I don't remember who we arranged the marriage for. It was for her. Okay, so we married for strictly for the trait here. And maybe their kids will get one positive trait, and let's hope they don't get the stupid trait from their father. Another attempted murder here. Wow, guys. And is that on the Duke of Bulgaria? Yep. That is on the Duke of Bulgaria, so we actually were able to find a secret on him finally. I'm glad we stayed here, guys. So yeah, he attempted to kill this guy here. Interesting. So... that is fantastic. We got a hook on him now as well. So let's go ahead and blackmail him on that hook. And so now we have hooks on each other. That's great. So yeah, we have a hook on him and he has a hook on us. Speaking of the hooks, remember we can demand payment here. If we want to. But speaking of the hooks, remember we were in that faction, which I didn't really want to be in. Let's see if we can leave it now. No, 11-18, a couple more years, and then we'll be able to leave. All right, so yeah, now we have a hook on the Duke of Bulgaria as well, but you really should be able to exchange hooks. Like, hey, I got a secret on you, you got a secret on me. Let's just forget about those secrets. But yeah, that's not an option, unfortunately. Lively livestock. An additional payment in a recent trade I find myself... Okay, so we read this event before. We've had this one. This is about having that large herd of cattle. So let's see which one we would like to go with. We could just get the money from it. We just say we will prosper from it. Again, as a content character, I would say we'd probably just be happy with the herd as is and not try and make it any larger. So yeah, we'll just go with that one. Same as we did the last time. And that does give us a development bonus. So we'll be able to try and get this development higher. I'm trying to get it up to 20 and make us one of the more developed realms, developed counties in Europe. Getting up to 20, obviously not the most developed, but yeah, pretty high. Not too bad. Obviously, there's some very developed locations. Looking at Rome, you're at 34. I think Paris is, yeah, a little bit more developed than that. 23. London's not that developed. Yeah, you see here it's only 15. Looks like another secret was uncovered here. All right, excellent. And we're gonna want... She's just a guest though, so I don't know if this would be all that useful. Yeah, let's go and blackmail her. And we're not able to sway the Countess here, our wife. So that's a shame. We'll attempt to do it again. I don't know what our chances were. Only 58%, so not exactly high. And one of our hooks has expired on her. Okay. And a secret was exposed as well. All right. I wonder why this is saying 1 here when you clearly have multiple things here. So let's let this one go, and then I think we'll see if we can assassinate him, get rid of him. Looks like he unfortunately lost his son here, so he does not have a son to inherit. His sister would be the next to inherit. We did get a stewardship perk. Let's go ahead and get, so we've already finished up this branch here, so now we're looking to finish up this one. Again, neither of these are very helpful for us right now, so it doesn't matter which one we go for. Because I don't think we have any dread, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we don't have any dread, so that doesn't help us at all. We do have some money, though, that we can make use of. So let us go ahead and say, let us not waste any more time here. And now we're going to attempt to assassinate this character, see if we can. Oh, well, he has a strong hook on us, so we can't assassinate him. Yeah, I guess I didn't even think about that fact, that you can't operate against him when you have a strong hook. That would only work with a weak hook. So that's kind of a shame. Yeah, that we can't do that. I wouldn't be able to do anything against him, honestly. Alright, so yeah, that's a real bummer. There's really not much that we'll be able to do with that. Except for, like, force a marriage or something like that. His sister's not married. But she's older as well. But yeah, if he has like a daughter, we could force a very cruddy relationship on him, very cruddy marriage. So maybe we'll just keep the strong hook on him. I can see it being useful. Same thing here. It could be very useful to force a marriage. Although all her sons are currently married here, of course. They're older. But maybe if one of their wives die or something like that, I guess you could force that. It's kind of hard to do that, to like kill a spouse and then just so you can marry them. What typically ends up happening is they marry so quickly. So there's nothing to build here with the exception of getting a new castle, which is what I want to do. We're going to build this up and get the keep. We do need 467 gold though. It's pretty expensive, guys. But that's what we're going to get next. So we're just going to have to wait until we get the gold, excuse me. Hopefully we don't get mold. So yeah, we're just waiting to get the gold. We have a very large army now, 2,400 men. Very large for us, of course. Obviously 2,400 is not much if you were like a king or something like that. And our court position got even better. He finally got the Novice Physician trait. Took him long enough. He served us well for quite a while. Surprised it took him so long. Unworthy peasants. While I was in the castle town with Cyrus, so we read this one before. This is just a trade event. So he has the arrogant trait now. So he can say, good, let him know his place. You say, no, child, bring the poor man some water, and he'll become compassionate. Or you say, spit on him, and then becomes callous. Yeah, I think arrogance fine. It doesn't reduce his, doesn't reduce his stewardship at all. And I don't think any of these have impacts on that. Yeah, they changed everything. Instead of having a little meter here that goes up, it now has a little circle. Yeah, just so much has changed, guys, with the UI, from what I'm noticing. So yeah, compassionate doesn't help us at all with that either. Neither does callous. So yeah, let's just let him keep the arrogant trait, I suppose. I think that's fine for that character. All right, so yeah, there's really no reason not to demand payment now since we can't operate against him. I was forgetting the fact that as a a character that has a strong hook on you, you can't assassinate them. That's not a possibility. So in that case, you know, we might as well just go ahead and, yeah, I think we'll just end up doing, selling these off. Unless they have, like, a daughter that's set to inherit that we could marry one of our sons to and force a marriage on them that maybe they don't want to do. But yeah, it doesn't look like that's the case with either of these two counts. So yeah, we really just need money right now. So let's just demand payment. And this is a strong hook, so we can just, yeah, it's fine. Let's just do both of these guys. These are both strong hooks. So yeah, we'll just get paid off here. We'll keep the one on the Duke and the Duchess here. The Mayor, though, is a reason why I was keeping it on the Mayor. Maybe to operate against her, perhaps. Not entirely sure why I kept that, but yeah, we'll keep that one. Okay. So remember, one advantage of having strong hooks is also that they can't declare war on you, so this Duchess is not a threat to us at all. And we do still have her here, which I'd like to ally with her. Again, I want to be allies with this family here. So we can't get them to accept a marriage offer. So what we really need to do after we finish improving relations with our wife, if we're ever successful in that, is try and improve relations with her in the hope that we can get some type of marriage with her. So it looks like we did get a new bishop. Our bishop has died. Does this bishop like us? Just enough to give us a little bit of money in levies, but not much. You can see our number has decreased by quite a bit now. I don't remember what the other bishop's learning was. I think it might have been 10 as well. 10 or 12. That's one of those two numbers. So yeah, he's somewhere around the same rank here, guys. Do we have a county that is a different religion in our realm here? Yeah, looks like we do. That new county we just took. So we should be working on converting that. Let's go and do that. I imagine that we might be facing a potential... No, I guess not. Looks like it's just negative 15. It's not too shabby. All right, so again, trying to get that 400 something. Was it 435? Let me just double check here. 467. It's quite a bit more. So we're just trying to get that number up. We're just saving our money for that, guys, so that we can try and build that fort up a level higher. And we were successful on improving relations with the Countess. We are going to have to end this, guys. It's a terrible chance, 48% chance. So that's about as much as we're going to be able to get her to like us. And I know we want to improve relations with her, but I think improving relations with the bishop is a bit more important at this point, guys. So let's go ahead and sway him. I suppose we could also try and seduce him since he's bisexual. We're not going to do that. Our character is not bisexual. All right, so again, just waiting for the money. We're going to put on speed 5 since nothing's really going on here. And nothing happening. We're now at 19 development, again, trying to get it up to 20. And nice. Got some new churches established there. And yeah, hooks are all expiring, but none of these characters had the money to pay us, so there's really not much to be done about it there. We can take a look at this guy and make sure his hook isn't set to expire. No, it's not. So let's take a look at these two characters as well. Yeah, they're not expiring either. Okay, excellent. We just want to make sure we don't lose those. And man, we are sick again. Alright, so do no more than what is necessary. Our character continues getting sick, but our physician just continues doing a fantastic job, man. He's been a great physician compared to his very low learning. His learning was 10 when we hired him. And yeah, he's done a great job so far. I'm surprised. Alright, so we're going to get this one again. Not very helpful. This one's helpful for money, though. That'll be one way we can earn some extra funds. All right, so let's go ahead and build this castle up now, guys. Though it is now more expensive. Oh, because of the construction slowdown modifier that we just got. How long does that last? Till 1123. Ah, that sucks. Damn. All right, so we have gotten over our illness. How much did it say it was? Do we want to pay that extra money? 5, that's a lot of extra money, man. That's a huge increase. All right, yeah, that's kind of a bummer, guys. A liar's pay. I was shocked when I caught Cyrus trying to steal from the travel chest of the visiting mayor. He blamed a game another child had invented, but I could tell that he was lying. So we could say, you have to learn to get away with your lies, in which case you'll become deceitful, or we could say, be honest, and you'll see others open up to you. Yeah, I guess we'll look and see. I don't think honest helps at all. Yeah, it's just diplomacy. So in this case, I think we'll just let him keep the deceitful. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just let him keep that. I think we already have a character who's honest. Or a son, I mean, Thomas. So yeah, he's becoming an interesting character. I often find myself wanting to play as some of the other sons that we have, rather than the first son. Again, though, he would be a weird character to play. That's because of these traits here. He wouldn't be a very good intrigue, of course. Oh yes, this is another thing that they added in the patch, is you can now see the kills, a new kill list, just like in CK2, guys, which is something they added towards the back end of the life of CK2. And you can see all the kills. Now, I don't know. Yeah, it looks like it does keep track of any character you killed, even ones you did before the patch. All right, awesome. So yeah, we have a kill list now. So I really like that. That was actually, I think I said that in the last series, that one of the things I missed the most from CK2, and it's a little tiny thing, and there's a lot of things I missed from CK2. I'm not saying that this is the thing I missed the most. It's just one of the things is the kill list, and so I'm glad that they added that. It's pretty cool. So we now have a chance to sway the bishop here. Let's see which one we want to do. He is very brave, so we could say his relentless courage. You can also say his clear rationality. That'd be one option as well. We can say his forgiving nature, which I think the rationality has to do with this astute intellectual. Or we can say his forgiving nature is his forgiving trait. Let's go with his relentless courage, I think. Yeah, we'll try that out, see how he feels about it. And we discovered another secret here. All right, excellent. The Countess discovers secret. This is our wife. And that's because we have her on that intrigue. So she's discovering secrets for us. Alright, well, I don't see any reason to keep the blackmail on this mare. So we'll probably just go ahead and sell it. And it did work. Excellent. So we increased his opinion. Progressed our attempt to sway him even further. But yeah, I think we'll just sell. Oh, that's only 15 gold, though. How long does it last? Till 11:30? I don't know what else we'd use the hook for, though, honestly. There's really not anything. And we're not going to imprison him or revoke his title or anything like that. So yeah, it's only 15 gold, but I don't really see any other use for it. So we'll go ahead and do that, guys. And looks like the Duke here was successful in winning a war against the Duchess, and I think he just took this county from her. Yep, he just took that county from her. So he's even more powerful now. Okay. And we could go ahead and declare war now. I said 5 years. It's been 5 years, guys. That was a quick 5 years. We can also build here if we wanted to. Or again, we could just wait until 1123. Until we don't have to pay as much and just kind of keep the money stacked in our, stacked in our treasury. And it would be useful to have that money in the war too, especially if we wanted to hire some mercenaries. That would be a real possibility now. So she's really, really weak. Incredibly weak. We no longer have the treaty with her either, I think. Let me just double check here. Yeah, we no longer have a peace treaty with her. So we could attack her. So that'd be one option, probably the best option, because I would imagine that this guy here is likely much more powerful. He is. She's just, begging to have her titles taken from her. She's just so weak. She doesn't really deserve to have them, honestly. So we're going to go after her capital province here and try and take that from her. Now, we don't have a claim. That's one thing I didn't think about, is the fact that we don't have a claim. So we won't be able to do that. We'd have to get a claim first. And we're currently converting here, so we wouldn't be able to do that, guys. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I didn't really think about the fact that we didn't have a claim against her. Now, we do have a claim over this territory, though, so I think so anyway. Let me just double check here. But yeah, I believe... Oh, so these guys are over here fighting in this conflict. But yeah, I do believe we have a claim against him for that territory right there, but massive army here, guys. We would not bring anything even similar to that. We'd probably have half his force, if that. So unless he's involved in a conflict already. Yeah, he is fighting here against them and winning, it looks like. So he could have all of his troops over there, which would give us an opportunity to get a win here. But he's got a lot of money, so he can always just hire more mercenaries. I just think he's a little bit too powerful for us, guys. I think it's a little too risky, especially for our content character. I don't think he'd risk it. So we have to attack her. So yeah, I think we're just kind of stuck right now. So this is the last trait for him. He got the just trait. And we can see if we want to change that to either cynical or temperate. Let's see here. Which one would we want to do, if any at all? The just does increase his stewardship, so we might just keep that on him. Yeah, we'll just keep that on him. He'll be just. And so hopefully he'll be a decent steward. We'll have to see. And that faction has been disbanded. Is that the faction we were in? It might have been. Let's just take a look. Yeah, that was the faction we were in. So we are no longer in any faction. Excellent, because I had no interest in being in a faction. We were not able to sway the bishop. So we'll have to try again, guys. Overall, nothing's quite going the way I'd want it to go. We did get another stewardship perk. Excellent. Let's go ahead and get the at any cost decision. And so we take a look at that. There's other decisions we could take as well. Selling minor titles does have different things, little events that can happen. It does get us some more money. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll be able to do it for another 5 years. So we'll do that, and we'll see what the results of this are. You'll notice we can also attempt suicide. And that, of course, is because of the fact that we are depressed right now. Alright, so I am honored by the titles you have offered me, and of course I would subsidize them as is right and proper. I cannot thank you enough for this honor. Whatever you demand, I will do my utmost for you. So that did result in the mayor paying us 50 gold. He got 75 prestige, and we got a week hook on him. Alright, awesome. So I suppose we could go ahead and make even more money by selling this hook. Again, it's not a lot of money, but there's really no reason to keep it. So yeah, just kind of stacking up on the money now. And so we probably, I don't know which one to build in just yet. Let me see, do we really want to keep waiting? I mean, it's a lot of money, man. And also the construction time is higher, so it takes longer to do. Yeah, I feel like you just kind of got to wait, guys. We'll just have to wait. Could build in here instead. Increase the size of the small harbor there. Can also build in here. I really want to keep this county, if at all possible. You know what? Let's just keep the money. You know what? Actually, what we could do is build up our army. That's what we should be doing. Let's go and build up the army, guys. So we need to build up the size of our men-at-arms. Let's do... Which ones have been getting countered the most? I feel like the pikemen would be most useful. Well, you know what? We haven't really faced much horsemen here, huh? So maybe that wouldn't be the best one to get. We could get the bowmen. We haven't been facing much skirmishers, but you know, I think this might be worth doing. So let's go and just use our money to get the bowmen up to increase size. Maybe do the light horsemen as well, and the pikemen. Now we are now in the negative. Yeah, it was a little bit too expensive, I think. Yeah, we'll have to see if there's anything we can do to increase our funds a bit. But yeah, I probably did a little bit too much for how much money we had. I'm a little surprised at just how expensive that was. Maybe it was the... Yeah, we might have to... That might have just been a waste, guys. Because that's just too expensive. My bad. I just spent too much. So that's good. We'll leave it at that. So what is this about? Your marshal has slain my cousin in a dishonest brawl. I demand satisfaction for the slight. So who is this character here? He's a duke. There's a duke up here. He is an independent duke. He does not have a liege. So we can say, whatever it takes to make this well again. We'll give him 25 gold and spend a bit of prestige, but he'll like us more. The mayor will like us a bit more as well, since he's the one who killed him. So we're covering for him. We can say that the mayor will plead for your forgiveness publicly. And of course the mayor would not like that. Or instead we can say, good one. So what exactly would we say here? I mean, we're pretty arrogant. I have a feeling like we wouldn't want anybody coming in here making any demands of us. Because, I mean, he says, I demand satisfaction. We're not exactly a just character either. So, yeah, I feel like in this case, we'd just say this. Yeah, I don't think we'd make him do anything. I don't think we really care about what some distant duke says. And you're now the leader of the Liberty faction. How'd that end up happening? I thought I wasn't even in a faction. Let's take a look what's going on here. Were we forced into... Yeah, how did that happen? I'm just taking a wild guess that the Duke forced us into the faction. Yeah, and we're the strongest one. Is that the reason why? We're the leader? I'm not entirely sure what happened here. This is just to decrease the crown authority, though. And I'm actually fine with where the current crown authority is. Now, we can also change up to absolute authority. And I think that would be worth it, guys. Let's go ahead and do that. And one of the interesting things about absolute crown authority is it does allow us to nominate an heir. So we don't have to have Michael be our heir. And look at this brood of kids he's already had. Good God, are some of these twins? Oh, and it looks like, yeah, his daughter. So his heir is his son right here. These are all daughters. She's stupid, so she got the stupid trait. How old is she? She's 4 years old. And then you have a slow character. This daughter did not get any of the stupid traits. And you'll notice that none of them have inherited their mother's trait yet, except for the son. And he didn't get the stupid trait. So, yeah, I really like the idea of him being our heir. In which case, we'd have to keep him in place here, because we can't just appoint his son. So, yeah, maybe we do want to keep him as our heir. He is a blade master as well. So he's got that increased prowess, and now he's actually becoming a decent knight. Look at that. I'm kind of liking what's happened with him so far. So I think we might want to keep him as our heir. Plus, if we ever want to get this county, that'd be the only way to do that. So yeah, I think we might end up keeping him as the heir, despite some of the negatives here. He's got a good son here. So yeah. Now we weren't able to name him because he was not in our realm. So that kind of sucks. But Constance, I guess is what his name is. That's a fine name, I suppose. Looking at his brothers here. Nothing really impressive. Of course, Thomas is not a ruler. And nothing really here with Magnus either that's happened. Again, these guys aren't really doing anything. He has had a kid, though, a daughter. And that's right, we saw that. We named her. And then looking at Cyrus here, he is 14, so he's about to come of age, and we'll see how he did in his education. So I think we'll probably just keep our current heir for right now, Count Michael, even though he's stupid. Again, he'll be a fun character to play as, I think. Although we'll likely be a lot older by the time he actually becomes our character, because he's already 31, and no reason to think that we're going to die anytime soon. I mean, we're 52, but yeah, I think we got at least a few more years of ruling. So yeah, I think that's going to be the end of today's episode. So hope you guys do all enjoy your Thanksgiving if you celebrate it, and that you have a good time, and you stay healthy, stay safe. And because of Thanksgiving, we will not have an episode on Friday. Instead, the next episode will be on Saturday. So yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our content. I do hope to see you on that next episode on Saturday, and thanks for watching.